Welcome to part two of how to treat your writing career like a business. Last week, I spoke to you more on the marketing side of starting to think of your book as a product. Today, I'm going to actually focus on the business side of it. So, how to actually build your business, build your writing business. So, let's talk about that today.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Now let's talk about the more maybe boring business side of writing. And the first thing is what we've already talked about, which is establishing yourself as a writer, kind of building that infrastructure of creating things like a website, your social media accounts, your online presence, emails, newsletters, anything to connect directly with your readers. Then there is the financial planning aspect of your business. So having a dedicated bank account where your money is going to go into, so it's not mixed in with your personal. Having maybe something like a separate box where people want to mail things to you. It happens. It used to happen a lot more. People would actually send you a letter. Now people contact you via email, but you might still not want, you might want a separate mailing address. And if you're self-publishing, you want to look into things like cover designers, things, all of that. So let's talk about that business part. First, for self-publishers, you want to consider aside from the actual writing, one of the biggest things to consider is your book cover. So your book cover is super important. So that's the first thing they see. Before they even look at your writing, they're going to look at your cover and they're going to judge that cover on whether it's something they want to read or not. So it should, if you are self-publishing, you want to invest in a professional book cover designer. There are different places out there. I don't write, I could recommend, but I don't. I have my own personal book cover designer, but you can go to places like Reedsy or I think it's called 99 Designs and see what they have. But there are different companies or businesses that specialize now on creating covers for authors. So find one that you like, really look into it, see what it can cost you. It can cost you anything from, $300-400 to $2,000. So, and it's not that the $2,000 is a ripoff or it's not logical. It depends on how involved your cover is. Is somebody actually drawing and creating original art for you, or are you just using like cover models to add to your cover? The more professional your cover looks, the better it is for you, because that's how readers are going to judge whether they're even going to look at your book. So invest and think about your cover if you are self-publishing your own book. The next thing you want to look at is your editor. So we write our books. We edit our books. I spent a lot of time on that. I rewrite my books 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and then I edit, and then I edit for all kinds of things. So each time I'm going through it, I'm looking for something different. So at first, obviously, it's just sort of the large story. Is it all flowing together? Is it making sense? Did I drop a subplot? So those are the big things that I'm doing in those first rewrites. By the time I get to my last rewrites, I'm being very picky. I'm looking at sentences. Am I repeating a certain word over and over again? Am I doing more telling than showing? Do I need to, are my verbs consistent? So I look at all of those type of things, grammatical things, and I will still miss things, which is so irritating. I will still find something, or the word processing system thinks that I meant a certain thing and it will change my word and I'll have a completely different word. It happened with my Christmas romance where I wrote lift, which is, like the rides that you get. And the computer must have changed it because one of my readers, advanced readers, said, hey, you wrote lift L-I-F-T rather than L-Y-F-T, which means that I either wrote it wrong or the word processing system changed it because it didn't recognize that word. And it's easy to miss something like that, right? Because it's an actual word. It's not going to pop up with any scribbles or something that it's written wrong. It's actually going to go right through because it won't be noticed. So you have to be super careful when you are editing to find things like that. So you might still miss all that. So it's nice to hire an editor afterwards to at least do the line editing. If you are new, you might want to have somebody to read the content and look for things like, is it flowing well? Is there a missed, are your plot points making sense? So a developmental editor is what they're called, and they will look at all that. If you are comfortable with that, you just want to have a line editor at the end to catch those things that I had just mentioned. So editing is another part of the business, and you can think of these people that you're hiring, they're part of your business. They're contractors that you hire for a project, and then maybe for the next project, and then maybe for the next project. They're not your employees, but they are part of your business. And another thing you might have is somebody who formats your book, and they're not very expensive, honestly, but they will take your book and they'll format it for whatever you want. So you might be releasing a paperback and a hardcover, and so they will format it differently depending on the size that you want, so that you can submit it to Amazon or submit it to wherever you are going to be, wherever your book is going to be sold or be available. You can do it yourself. There's a lot of software things now. You can, I think Vellum is used for Mac users. Atticus was released a few years ago, and that is for all platforms. It's the one that I've been using now. Although, well, the last book, I did all the formatting myself. Previous to that, I would hire formatters because I didn't want to deal with it. I just wanted them to do it. Atticus makes it pretty simple, so now I'm using that. But having a formatter or paying for a formatting software is absolutely invaluable. It'll help you see what your book is going to look like. You upload it to Amazon or wherever you're printing your book, and it will look perfect. Now, the other parts of the business, whether you are a self-publishing or a traditional publishing author, you, like I said, a bank account, maybe a PO box, having an accountant that's going to do your taxes at the end of the year, keeping your accounts separate and making sure that you're able to deposit money that you get, like from a publisher. You might want to, depending on if you have an author pseudonym or you have a company name, you have to file to have that, to actually have that name so that it's a legal name, so that if somebody writes you a check for your name. I've had problems with my pseudonyms where people wrote a check to my pseudonym, and I couldn't cash it because that's not really legally me, right? So having that become your legal business name if you need to. So you want to look into all the legal financial things, which is a lot. I suggest joining groups like the Authors Guild because they will also help you with looking at your contracts. If you get a contract from a publisher and giving you advice on if anything needs to be changed, all the legalities, because I'm assuming you're not a lawyer. If you are, then you don't need that. So the big thing here is that we want to have a mindset shift from being the artist author to being the business person and thinking like a business person. I'm going to make money with this, hopefully. I am going to try to figure out how I'm going to promote my book, how I'm going to sell my product, and who are going to be the partners that I'm going to have with me to help me do that, whether it's going to be a traditional publisher that covers a whole lot of things, or if I'm going to have separate people that are going to help me bring this story to life and then help me to market it. You can also hire people like publicists, which again, I'm not going to go into because that's another whole big story, but you can hire a publicist that will help you with the marketing. You can hire people like voice coaches that will help you if you're going to do things like make videos, which I probably should have done. But you might want to hire all kinds of people, right? You might want to join a Toastmasters group if you're not really comfortable speaking in front of people, because when you go to do author signings, you may be asked to speak. You may want to be comfortable with doing that, not just writing. So there's a whole lot you want to think about as this big umbrella of your business, and write it all down. Like, what am I going to need? Who can I hire? Where can I find these people? So that you create your plan and you're ready to be successful once you do start selling your work. I hope that this has, I know it's a lot. These are major topics, and I'm giving you a glimpse of them, but at least I hope that it helps you to think about yourself as a business person, what you might need, and how you can be successful as an author and as an entrepreneur. So if this has been helpful, then please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. I am going to start releasing author interviews once a month, and that will probably be on Wednesdays. So also maybe add the notification bell so that you'll hear about when I do release these extra videos that, again, will be in the middle of the week rather than at the end of the week. All right, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again next week.